couple weeks ago, Carl showed me on Who Are These Socials the trailer for Joe Gatto's special. You know Joe Gatto from the Impractical Jokers, yes?
Oh, guiltiest pleasure of shows. I love that show.
Well, very guilty, apparently. They've been some naughty boys.
They sure have.
Speaking of Legion of Skanks, I forget if it was Dave Smith or Louis J. Gomez that said on this week's episode, they're like, so are we Sal's least toxic friends? Like, we just say this shit. We don't actually do it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I don't know. Here's what's weird about the allegations against Joe Gatto.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I sound like a broken record, but
Yep.
to me, they don't seem like sexual assault, right? They seem like a girl.
Here's what I see it as.
Yeah.
Some girl of age was messaging him, he is divorced.
Right.
Said,
Or is not now, but was at the time. He was separated at the time, I think.
Yeah. So they meet up, they start talking, they took a picture. She starts flirting with him in the DMs. He invites her to his hotel room, which, come on. And he bit her butt. It bruised a little in the sex.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's about what I know about it, too. If there's details we're missing, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, please.
It didn't seem like a sexual assault case to me until here's where I get very confused. When a guy like Joe Gatto, and this is what we talked about with Chris D'Elia, when Joe Gatto comes out and says, I've been a very bad boy, I'm going to rehab, then you're like, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, is there something else here? What's going on?
See, I take that as his like publicist being like, you need to do this.
I guess, but I think that's a huge mistake because to someone like me, maybe this isn't the general consensus. That to me says like, oh, I guess he's guilty.
And real quick, before we get off this subject, and this super chat makes no sense. Dang Lizard, 5 pounds. The argument is putting fringe views on JRE makes them seem like they are largely accepted, more sane and real than they are. Still tend to disagree.
Yeah, who cares? You know,
anyone from across the pond seems to like this Douglas Murray guy.
But I don't think Douglas Murray. I would probably like him in a different context.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like he seemed like an interesting guy, and not totally. There are times where he is joking with Dave a little bit. He called libertarians the bisexuals of the political world, which was fun.
Funny. That's very funny.
And Dave goes, "I'm actually a happily married man," and Douglas goes, "That's what they all say." So it was a fun. There were fun moments, I guess. But yeah, I don't get the idea of like condemning someone for talking out of their ass. I think it's allowed, you know?
Yeah.
All right, but so Joe Gatto. Rapist, not, who knows? I'll tell you what he is guilty of. He owes a lot of people their money back for this comedy special. Because I'm not even saying he was unfunny for all of it. I think what's clear here is Joe Gatto is a guy that got into stand-up and rushed it. Unlike his brother, Sal Vulcano, Sal like took stand-up very seriously and laid the groundwork for what a stand-up career should be for a long time before he ever put anything out.
Yep.
Joe Gatto, I think, started stand-up like post-pandemic.
Well, I think this is a lot of too. Like they'll do the Impractical Jokers live shows and think it translates.
That's Craig. Have you watched it?
No.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh,
it is. He's telling stories where I'm like, I could see that being funny at the Impractical Jokers live show. But in the context of stand-up and him trying to pepper in jokes, it really doesn't work. But the craziest part to me is that the audience apparently agrees. You have to hear this audience reaction. I can't believe he released it like this.
Oh,
I've never advocated for laugh tracks in comedy. I totally get it now. I apologize to Joe Matarese and Pete Gurgio.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised Gatto wasn't like, I gotta call my boy Gurge.
Guys, I apologize. Because if this is the reaction you get in your comedy special, pump it up a little bit. You got to do something. Because this was crazy that he let this out like this.
All right, let's get into it. What's up?
Now, hold on. You hear an audience there, right?
Yep, it was loud.
Okay, so you hear people because you're going to question that as this goes on.
Long Island!
As Chris Rock always said, or I think it was Chris Rock. I better be Chris Rock because I think it was definitely a black comedian. Said you got them for 5 minutes and then your fame wears off.
Right. Yes. Boy, is this a great... he's never seemed wiser, Chris Rock, because I never really believed that. I was like, yeah, people come to laugh at Chris Rock, you know?
Yeah.
But this is a real test of that.
Huh? I had to come home. Had to come home for the taping. Had to come to my hometown.
Loud again?
Raucous.
All my friends here because, guys, I've been around the country and there's a lot going on. Let me tell you, there's some towns. Maybe miss Long Island. Appleton, Wisconsin. You been?
What?
Don't. Whitest place I've ever been. I don't think they ever got the diversity memo. It was like I jumped into a bowl of milk and I was talking to marshmallows. That's how white this town was.
Okay.
You ever get like a new coloring book and you open it? That's it. That's Appleton, Wisconsin. And I'm getting older, you know. You notice more stuff annoys you when you get older, you know. I'm 47 now. Yes, thank you, I made it. I mean, I know what you're thinking. That's it? Oh my God, you look terrible.
Real diminishing returns on the laughs here.
Yeah.
By the way, do we just not know where any of these clips end? Because
no, I got the timestamps up to my left.
All right, thank God. All right.
Whistle was
But you hear like he's there's weird stuff with his breathing going on, and you hear the raucous crowd at the start is already starting to dwindle a bit, but we haven't gotten to the craziest part yet.
Nice try. I know we get it. That's okay. I've seen myself in high definition.
First clip.
Yeah, so he's getting laughs. So maybe the 5-minute rule is still in play here. It sounds like he's getting laughs so far. The jokes aren't there. It's clear. I'm not saying Joe's like unfunny. It's clear he's 2 years into stand-up, you know?
Right.
This is where Brendan Schaub fucked up. And I think Joe Gatto's a funnier guy than Brendan Schaub. But Brendan was like, oh, Showtime's offering me a special. I'll do it. Joe, for some reason, put this on YouTube. I don't... Yeah, he didn't have to release this.
The bigger problem for Joe than Schaub is he has stage confidence because of the touring with his boys.
Right. Yeah, he feels I could do comedy because I basically already do it.
Right.
You know, I took her into the shop. I started upstairs. I went to the dentist, okay? So they take an x-ray of my teeth. And yeah, multiple teeth. That's how it works in English, ma'am. I'm sorry to offend you, Miss Grammarly. We put an S on it.
Okay, so now, I don't know if you can tell, the audience is kind of like, huh, okay.
All right.
Teeths, yes. That's funny. And he's having an exchange. He's like, oh, did I offend you? You know? He's wait, if it's too hot now, just wait, buckle in. If that offends you, it's about to get crazy. It's like no one was offended. It doesn't make sense. It's already plural.
So take a look at the picky pick of my teethy tooths, okay?
Oh, Joe.
Ooh, boy. You know what it is? That plays on his television show.
Yes. Here's what there's a lot of. It would be funny, and I think you'll see a couple examples of this. It would be funny if he's whispering it into Q's ear to say to somebody else. Correct. You know what I mean? Like, hey, go up to this fucking waiter and order this ridiculous item. Okay, now that'd be absurd. But him just presenting it as comedy, you're like, what? And you hear the audience already starting to drift out, like, your teethy teeth and how did we get here? What just happened?
Next we have checks.
Okay, yeah. So he's talking about going to the bank.
And I want to say real quick before this starts, we heard some laughs in those last couple clips. We are now hitting the 5-minute mark.
Well, let's see if Chris Rock's rule of thumb holds true.
We're adults, right? We got to pay the bills. Unfortunately, we got to pay the bills every month. We write checks. And on the bottom left-hand corner of every check is what I like to call an opportunity. Yeah, that's right. The memo section, 4 with a blank line. And you get to tell the whole world, what has this check been written for? And if you're not writing the word sexual favors on that line, get out. Get out. Get out. Thank you, but go. Every check I've ever written my whole life, 4 sexual favors. I don't care what it's for. Gas bill, cable bill, water bill, grandma's birthday, charity, Girl Scout cookies. I don't care. That's their problem now. How bad you want that money? I had a roommate. He used to pay the landlord.
Jeez, you hear it's.
I'd have to give him.
Well, you hear noise, but you can't even call it. You hear like chatter, like they're playing audio of Penn Station or something. You know what I mean? Like you hear that people are there.
Yeah,
but it's hard to even call laughter. And what I noticed the longer I watched it, what I noticed happening is they really amplify the audio when there's supposed to be a laugh. So you'll hear noise, but it's not even necessarily laughter. And one thing that Joe is good at is he knows comedy well enough to be like, I'm speaking in the cadence of a joke.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like sexual favors, you know? And everyone's like, okay, there's supposed to be something funny here. But again, it's an example of like, okay, if Murr has to go into the bank with a check that says sexual favors on it, maybe that would be funny. A 50-year-old man going like, wouldn't that be crazy? Is kind of like, I guess. Yeah.
Who the fuck still writes checks?
Oh, that's another good point, but
check for my half of the rent due. $725 for sexual favors, okay? And he would have to go deposit it in the bank in person. It was before the apps. He'd have to wait online till they said next and be like, good afternoon. I'd like to deposit this check. I received $725 for sexual favors. He begged me to stop. He's like, Joe, stop. You got to stop, dude. You have to stop. My picture is up in every branch across Manhattan. Stop. I was like, fine. So 1 month I just wrote 4 butt stuff.
It's rough. But it's getting like as it goes on, there's fewer and fewer laughs, and it feels like there are just people that are like, "Oh, I'm supposed to laugh here."
There are 4 people laughing at a time.
But remember, the raucous, like even if you hear a couple laughs, remember how amped up everyone was a couple minutes ago.
Yes, I do. Yes,
and now they're like, "Oh, geez, this is all he has."
Oh man, this makes me I'm not going to defend this guy.
You know, he is a rapist.
Yeah, there's 4 people. I like how that one was not. This next one's titled "No Reaction."
Well, you know, that one was not a reaction. Yeah, but what I noticed, so I looked at the comments to see what the feedback was.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are, and this is probably the people laughing at Joe's jokes. I think there's a big Impractical Jokers crowd there.
For sure.
That's just like, we just want to see Joe be silly. It's not a stand-up audience going, what the fuck is this?
They're going to defend Joe, blindly, like some might, defend Bill Burr, possibly.
Definitely.
So this one is no reaction.
Well, okay, let's see. Maybe I'm wrong about this one. Well, let's find out.
I like to collect other people's business cards and give them out as myself at a later date. I've been the CEO of some major corporations.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Public restrooms are a good time.
Oh my God.
That's it. There's no joke. That's just an observation.
The segues are also, he has no ability to segue from topic to topic.
Oh, this section, that's already no reaction. This segment is so long.
Go back a little bit. I want to hear that. Like, I think that was supposed to get a laugh, that like public restrooms are a good time. And he, I guess, saves it with, there's no segue there. But like, this is rough. Just no one reacted to it.
It's tough.
I like to collect other people's business cards and give them out as myself at a later date. I've been the CEO of some major corporations.
CEOs give out business cards, by the way.
I feel like that could have been a bit, but
Hi, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. Here, take my card.
This is disappointing.
Public restrooms are a good time. That's it. There's no joke. That's just an observation.
We could tell.
In the stall, I like to leave the door unlocked. Not open. Unlocked. Just to invite a little bit of mystery and danger to the party. And I'll just sit there waiting. I've set my trap like I'm trying to catch a raccoon out by the barn. Inevitably, somebody will open the door and I'll go, oh, you made it. I could begin.
Oh my
urinals,
God.
You know the urinals are weird. We can make them weirder.
He talked them out of laughter. Where some people started laughing and then it just dies down because they're like, oh, we're still going with this.
Oh my God.
It's really rough. And now because I'm hearing it in my headphones, I'm like, the noise is louder, but the laughs aren't, if that makes sense.
What I'm noticing with the headphones on is you can hear like smatterings of laughter, but now you can hear each individual laugh.
Yes. And it's like there's noise, but the same as, tell me if this makes sense. If we stop talking right now and you're watching on YouTube, there's still technically noise happening that's different than if you paused it.
Right.
And that's what a lot of it, where it's like there's noise.
Mike, you're looking for ambient noise.
Yes, ambient white noise. Yeah.
Title of this episode will be ambient noise.
Yeah.
3 levels of awkwardness, okay? Level 1, super easy, okay? Don't skip the empty urinal. Stand right next to the fella and just snuggle in while you're taking the peeps. Bonus points if you whisper the word impressive. Level 2, step up to the plate, take out your wiener, scream and start taking pictures of it.
Maybe this guy is a predator.
Oh.
Well, that's the other thing. Go back a little because I want to note how quickly, when there are laughs, I've never heard them die so quickly. It's laughs and then utter silence.
He shouldn't have pantomimed the scream and take a picture of your dick.
Well, that's probably a bad move in hindsight, but
it was funnier without it.
Yeah.
Of it.
See, it just killed it.
Level 3, the Joe Gatto level of awkwardness, the masterclass, if you will. You're going to step up to that urinal. Just go ahead and use that bad boy backwards.
Well, that gets a reaction, I guess. That got at the end there, him shitting in the urinal, I guess, got a reaction.
South Park did it.
But there's more like dead silence in this special that I was stunned by. And he put it in the trailer, which was weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we're getting to those jokes that are in the trailer.
We have drugs.
Yeah. By the way, something to be said about drugs. Chris D'Elia doesn't drink or do drugs. Joe Gatto doesn't drink. Maybe have a vice, you know? That's all I'm saying.
Trump doesn't. He's the man.
Sure. That is, you know what? That example is the opposite of the other 2 guys we mentioned.
I love messing with people. It's always so much fun. I don't even know why I'm like this, to be honest.
Here's the thing. Do we know why he left the show?
I've been saying the same thing. So I always assumed it was that these whispers were out there and he's like, I'm just going to bail to, for the betterment of the show, I guess.
But he started doing stand-up because like right there he goes, I love messing with people. That was your entire show. Why would you leave it?
I never understood it because he's like, I need to leave the show to focus more on my family. But I was like, you're going to leave a job for the...
Yeah, because you would record that show like a block away from your house, I imagine.
Yeah, I never quite understood that. But
I can't blame drugs. A little bit of backstory for you. I never tried a drug, a cigarette, or even been drunk in my life. And I know what you're thinking. How the hell did this happen? I don't know. I guess my parents were into some stuff. Trickle-down effect, skips a generation. Boom, crazy-ass Joe Gatto. Hello. I've never even tried marijuana. Technically, it's a vegetable. Not for me. I did spark up a cannoli backstage, though, before I came out. Puff, puff, pastry. All right.
Oh, my.
Oh, that's in the trailer.
Oh my god!
But here's what's crazy. That's in the trailer with that reaction. They don't pump it up or have fake laughs or music. They let you hear the utter pin drop silence after he goes, puff, puff, pastry. All right.
Like, were you able to observe that when he said puff, puff, pastry, he also did finger guns?
Oh, God. Don't tell me that.
He did. He sure
I'm
did.
surprised it's this silent because I'm surprised people aren't trampling over each other to get out the exit. This should be a massacre.
This is upsetting.
Yeah. And I do have to give him a little, like, there's a lot that we didn't clip because they're long stories that also weren't funny. But I get those stories in the context of an Impractical Jokers live show. I bet they kill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, because the other three can tag it too. With
Exactly. They're having a conversation. It's not him up there by himself.
Because like Q and Sal on the show are very good at tagging stuff or like telling, things I would never think of.
And
a million years.
Not even that, but if he says puff puff pastry, Sal is up there to say that's a crime. Don't ever say that again. You know what I mean? Like they can bust each other's balls for bad jokes. You don't have that luxury here, unfortunately.
And what the reason I'm gonna guess, this is probably the reason that stayed in the trailer is because if you watch Impractical Jokers, this man loves himself a cookie. So he's probably like appealing to the audience, like, you're gonna get what you're expecting.
That comes up. Don't worry. His
No.
love of food continues.
Okay.
But I'll tell you the other, as a guy who clipped this show, I'll tell you another reason it's probably in the trailer is there's a lot of long, seemingly unending bits.
Oh, good.
So a short one like that is going to be in the trailer,
I will say though, I also didn't really care for Sal's special.
It was a lot better than this.
It was, but like I
thought it was okay.
I will look at it better now. Yeah, it was okay, exactly. But like I feel like I looked at it the way I'm currently looking at this, which means that must be moved up now.
Oh God, yeah. This is Sal is clearly the best stand-up of the Jokers.
Oh yeah, and I bet his next special is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. But next we have him talking about dogs. His dogs cannoli.
Oh, so you know the lore.
Well, I've watched the show. He's got a shirt that has all his dogs' names, and they're all fucking Italian desserts.
Well, I'm stunned. This doesn't get a greater reaction then.
Really?
Oh my God.
Okay, let's see.
This has got to be the worst joke in the special. I don't even really know why it's a joke.
I don't really have a body built for sport. It's built more for pastry. That's why all my dogs are named after Italian pasta dishes and desserts. That's what makes sense for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All my
hey, something we know. All right.
As my rescue, I got so many dogs. It wouldn't make sense if my dogs were named any other way. Like if my dogs were named after exercise routines, it's off-brand. I can't be like, yeah, these are my dogs. Push-ups, sit-ups, treadmill. No.
Oh, hold on. Let's languish in that for a moment.
I don't want to. This sucks.
No one names their dogs that.
He did.
Hey, guys, it'd be crazy if I named my dog Push-Ups. Yes.
Well, what about sit-ups?
It would also be crazy if Tyron Woodley named his dog Push-Ups. It doesn't. It would be crazy if anyone named their dog that. It's stupid.
It's just so dumb.
And I can't be like, yeah, these are my dogs. Push-ups, sit-ups, treadmill. No. I got cannoli, biscotti, spumoni.
No, those are Von Miller's dogs' names. Push-ups, sit-ups.
Von Miller? Whatever the fucking name.
Yeah. Linguine, ravioli, the brother and sister fettuccine Alfredo. Cupcake, broccoli rabe. I got them all.
Hold on, Cupcake?
Is he naming his dogs or the Baldwin's kids?
Cupcake is not an Italian pastry.
Was that a joke, though? Well, no one laughed, so it was probably as close.
Go back. Let's find out.
It was as close, or no one was giggling.
Yeah. Linguine, ravioli, the brother and sister fettuccine Alfredo. Cupcake, Broccoli Rob. I got them all. And I got...
That was just a joke that fell flat as fuck.
Well, I don't get the joke.
He's just making a joke about the way he names his dogs. That's just what it is. It wasn't funny at all.
No, I get that, but you're saying Broccoli Rob isn't a real... That's different than all the other names?
The other ones were actually his pets' names.
But why...
I know that because I like the practice.
Hold on. I'm frozen here. I don't know. I've never had a moment where I literally don't know what to say.
Just continue the clip then.
So the first several are his actual dogs, but the joke is that he also has one named Broccoli Rob. That's the punchline?
Yeah.
Why is that different than Fettuccine Alfredo?
I don't know if that one's real either.
Okay, why is it different than cannoli?
Because cannoli was real.
But
I don't fucking know. This guy stinks.
if I don't get, if you said my dog's names are Rex, Fido, Sport, Champ, and Rover wouldn't be the punchline.
If this continues to go down this trajectory of being terrible, I might lash out and blame Q and Sal for not speaking up.
All right, well, let's find out.
Hold on. Rumpled Trench Coat, a Columbo podcast, $10.
Is that real? Is it a real Columbo podcast? I wonder.
It appears to be.
Oh.
To be fair to Gatto, Mert and Q were telling Joe, bite her ass in his earpiece.
Yes.
I'm on a delay, so if this joke was already made, please just move along.
No, it's a good one. I like it.
And just to get rid of these super chats, Don Fried Chicken, $5. Another friend of Craig's caught up in rumors and accusations. First ISO, now Joe Gatto. You gotta start running with different crowd, Craig.
It's a good point.
Never met either of them in my life.
2 kids. What the fuck are their names?
Oh, but folks.
If Cupcake and Broccoli Rob is actually like his pets' names, that's wow.
Yeah, I think they are, because the joke is, and I have 2 kids. What the heck are their names?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Hold on.
Cha-cha-cha.
I'm doing this. Joe,
Yeah, I think you were wrong about this.
Joe Gatto pet names.
Oh, we have to read all of them?
I'm gonna find out. I have to, I think.
Yeah, you're definitely wrong. The punchline was the Catskills.
Oh, I'm right. His dogs are currently named Cannoli, Biscotti, Tartufo, Zappole, Spumoni, Pignoli, Napoleon, and the late Mishkine. No Cupcake or Broccoli Rob.
So Fettuccine Alfredo was a joke.
I told you.
I don't understand.
That's so terrible.
Why is that different than cannoli? Why is that more or less ridiculous?
Because it's fake. Duh.
But I don't know that.
Well, then you shouldn't be watching.
That's a crazy level. If you are putting out a special where it's like you have to know all my dogs' names to enjoy this.
Seems like it'd be targeted for me, apparently.
I like that Craig's like, no, actually, the Broccoli Rob line is very funny, you see. Because that's not his dog's name.
Okay, well, this next clip is called No Punchlines.
Okay, well, the last one was very meta, so let's see. This is, when I say no punchlines, again, I'm not even blaming Joe. I think this is what happens when you're in comedy for 2 years and you never have to find an audience, is that this will just, like, I guess, get laughs. Not always, but sometimes.
Stupid technology. I hate it. Think about it, all the technology I have in my house. I have all these OK Googles, these little, screens. You can walk up to them and they'll show you any picture you want. And I have kids in my house, and that's too much power for them to wield. My son is 4 years old, learning about neighborhood animals. So he walks up to the Google and he goes, "Okay, Google, show me a picture of a chipmunk." And it shows him a chipmunk eating an acorn. "Okay, Google, show me a picture of a bunny rabbit." And his bunny, carrot. "Okay, Google, show me a picture of a possum." And Google decides in its infinite wisdom to show my son a rabid possum hanging off a lamppost. My son screams bloody murder, runs up into his bedroom. Now he's terrified of possums. His number one fear, possum, okay? At night, I'm not checking his room for monsters. I'm looking for marsupials, okay? And he knows they hang from the top. He's smart. So he's like, Dad, check the top of the closet. They hang with their tails. I'm in his closet like there's none here. Stupid Google.
Oh my God.
That was the punchline for that joke. Stupid Google.
You know, if you're not afraid of possums, I don't think I trust you.
And that is, not to keep invoking this guy's name, that is sort of the Chris D'Elia school of comedy where it's like, well, then I called them marsupials. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I'm not looking for monsters. I'm looking for marsupials. Huh? That's a fun word.
Oh, good.
I like Joe. I think I like Joe Gatto, and I like what he does on and off stage. So I think what we're doing here is a service to say, like, to all people, if you have any fucking respect for stand-up or yourself, don't prematurely put stuff like this out.
We got 3 clips left. And don't worry, everybody. This one's called Deafening Silence.
All right. Well, let's find out what, as opposed to the other the other clips, let's see what inspired me to label this that.
Yeah, I mean, we do what you can. You know, you set the ground rules. You try to teach them to be good. You try to teach them to lead a good life. You teach them the rules, right? Can't say any bad words. You guys know that. Can't say them. F, B, A, you know. But in my house, we don't even say mean words. We don't say hate. We don't say shut up, okay? And we spend time together and have fun and laugh. And we try to do that as much as we can.
We assert our anger through physical violence. If we're in a mood, you'll know it.
He tells his kids to go do something. If they don't, their punishment is they go to bed early.
They get teeth in the hip.
But he introduces it in that stupid way they introduce every segment on the show.
School. And in Daddy's car, we have Daddy's playlist, songs that we all love, songs that I love growing up, or songs from now that I think are fun. And we listen on the way to school every morning. One of my favorite songs, Shut Up and Dance With Me by Walk the Moon. Yes. One of my favorites, right? So we're driving to school and I see my son in the back seat and he's going, and dance with me. Super cute. I go, you know what, buddy? If it's in a song, you could say it.
Oh, no, Joe.
He rolls down the window, hangs out, and he's like, shut up and dance with me. I'm like, this kid's got anger issues. I need to talk. My neighborhood's nice. It's a nice neighborhood.
That silence makes you feel like you can feel it.
The joke is just going... It should have gone to... The next song was Blank in Paris by Kanye West.
No, he goes with Fuck You by CeeLo Green.
Nah, stupid.
Yeah.
He's out the window yelling Kanye's song. That's the joke, Joe.
Yeah, well, I think we all thought it was going there. I think that's why the crowd goes, uh-oh, here it comes. And it doesn't.
School drop off, all the kids, when they get dropped off, all the teachers are waiting outside to greet them. The principal's there, everybody's there. Let's have a good day. We're going to do it. All that bullshit, you know? So they're all there hanging out. And we roll up, and we're rolling up to the school, and another song comes on the playlist. One of my other favorites, Forget You by CeeLo Green. Oh, yeah, you're with me. Daddy accidentally put the...
Tell me if you're noticing this, too. When it does get a laugh, it's a collective, ah! You know what I mean? It lasts 1 second.
Yes, there's no...
Like, I'm trying to think of the album we did recently. It might have been Mr. P, Patrice's posthumous album.
Yep.
Where I remember saying, like, God, you feel like you're in this room because people are like, you can hear people banging on the table,
right? And
their drinks bouncing. Like, you can hear people are just losing their shit.
Right.
Whereas this, you can feel people go, nah, all right. I got you, Joe, loud and clear.
They just let down that the setups don't go where they think they go.
Yeah.
And it's not in the good way. Like,
yeah.
I didn't expect the setup punch to go that way, like with Justin. You're like,
you did the tamer version. I see.
You did you're on True TV.
yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
By CeeLo Green on there. And by the time I realized I go to change it, and my son goes, if it's in a song, we could say it. And my daughter chimes in and goes, Gattos keep their word. What? They got me on a technicality. We roll up to the school. My 2 kids are like, fuck you. Ooh.
Oh, my God.
I got an email from the principal. Conference requested.
Oh.
Holy fuck.
the audience was like, "Ah, all right," and then he does a couple more tags, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, no, let's move on." Huh?
Ooh, that was truly god awful.
Oh, it's tough. Like, it's not even the content that I'm focused on; it's the audience reaction that it makes me feel like bad for him. But he must just have such a different perspective. I don't know how you put this out without making some adjustment to it.
I don't know. God damn. I'm gonna have to watch Impractical Jokers just to regain my
Cleanse your palate.
Yeah. I think so. Next we have the mall.
All right, let's hear about Joe's trip to the mall. Here's where the punchlines really do shine. This is some intricate writing that Joe has done here.
I'm in the Birmingham, Alabama mall, okay? Yeah. Like, think about the nicest mall you know, okay? With the shops, the food court, all that nice stuff. The nicest mall you know. Take it, put it in Stranger Things in the Upside Down. That's where I was. It was the jankiest, weirdest mall ever. They weren't even real stores. They had knockoff stores. Feet Lockers.
Oh, did
Forever
they, Joe?
42. Abercrombie and Bitch. Not you. I'm sorry. Why'd we lock eyes? My apologies. Thank you for coming. Be kind. Love you.
Here's my room key.
I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do any shopping here. The stores are terrible, but the place was filled with fans, and I love my fans. So
That one went a little long.
Oh, I know why I forgot. I left a little extra in there to hear the utter silence. Like sometimes, could you go back? Could you go back just a little bit? Because I want to hear that again. Where like sometimes comedians have a tough time talking because the crowd is going so crazy.
Yes.
Where it's like they won't even hear me if I talk. This is the direct antithesis of that. I want to hear that again.
I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do any shopping here. The stores are terrible, but the place was filled with fans, and I love my...
It's so gross.
I've never heard laughter grind to such a halt like that, where it's like, ha! All right, what's next joke, I guess.
I know we're going to title the episode Ambient Noise, but that should have been the special's name.
Why? Riddle me this.
Riddling.
If you've got a knockoff store and you want people to think it's the original version, why'd you name it Abercrombie and Bitch? Just because it rhymes?
That was just the worst joke I ever heard.
No, it's funny, you see, because bitch that's an inappropriate word to have put in the title of your clothing store.
I guess you're right. When you're right, you're right.
But I guess I'm asking, why would the mall allow that sort of activity?
This is our last Joe Gatto clip. Man, it's currently paused on the theater is giant and full.
Well, that's what I hope that's coming across, where it's like, Mike, you're overreacting. Some of these are getting a couple laughs.
Hey, and credit to him for not juicing the laughs, I guess.
I'll give him that. I guess credit to him. But it made me uncomfortable watching it.
Just watching someone you used to watch on TV die.
But here's what you do when maybe your special isn't getting the reaction you expected. You make it about this. You pull a Carlos Mencia at the end.
Oh, God.
Been very fortunate that I'm able to go around and bring some laughter and joy to people, especially when we need it the most. So I'm up here to remind you guys, sometimes life sucks, suck harder. That's it. Hang in there, guys. It does get better. And I want to appreciate that and let you guys know if you need some laughter tonight, I hope I was able to give that to you. And want to remind you, you got this. Stay strong.
Now listen to that reaction compared to every other one he's gotten.
Well,
that was atrocious.
But that gets a reaction. That's when you tell how many people are in that fucking room.
He's showing them. He's not hiding the fact that this isn't a comedy club of 5 people at 1 a.m.
Yeah, I give him credit. Credit, I guess, is that the word I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
But that reminded me. The reason I said Mencia, if you don't get the reference, is Mencia had a special. I assume his Comedy Central special. That's definitely where I saw it. He ends it with like he gives this rant about like humanity and how we're supposed to treat each other, and then I believe the last line is, "But sometimes, man," and then he walks off stage, and then we're all supposed to think like, "Oh, what was he gonna say?" And that's kind of one of those moments where it's like, "Hey, maybe I'm not killing with laughs, but I made you think, didn't I? I brought positivity into the world, and I made you question what the fuck you were doing here.
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Krager's did it.